Now that you are getting more comfortable with creating animations and applying effects, it's time to talk about something that will truly change the way you manage your projects in After Effects, and that is pre-composition and layer organization. If you have noticed your timeline getting cluttered with too many layers, maybe you have added multiple shapes, text, solids, images, or even effects. Don't worry, it's completely normal. But the more layers you add, the harder it becomes to keep track of everything. That's where pre-composing comes into play. So what exactly is a pre-comp? Think of a pre-comp like putting several layers inside a folder, or like grouping them together into one neat box. It's a way of bundling a set of layers into a single layers, which makes your timeline cleaner and much easier to engage. Let's try it together. Start by selecting layers you want to group. You can hold down shift on your keyboard and click on multiple layers to select. Now I'll select 5 layers for example. Then right click on it, click on Precompose. A pop-up window will appear asking you to name this new composition. Be sure to use a meaningful name, something like lower third group or logo animation or simply group 1 if you are just experiment. So here let's rename it as group 1 as we are experimenting this. Naming things clearly becomes really helpful when you are working on big projects. Click on OK. What just happened? You'll see that all those separate layers have now been replaced by a single purple layer in your timeline. That's your new composition. It acts just like any other layer, but when you double click on it, it opens up in its own dedicated timeline, and inside all your original layers are still there, untouched. This means you can now animate the group as a whole. Want to slide the whole group in from the left? Just animate the position of the pre-comp. Want to apply a blur or clue to everything inside? Just add the effect to pre-comp. You can also mask the pre-comp or add transitions, all without affecting the individual layers inside. Let's try adding a blur effect here. I'll add Gaussian blur, increase the value. So now we have applied the effect on the pre-comp and not on the individual layers. But it is just the start of staying organized. Let's talk about naming your layers. It's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. If you are working on a scene with 20 or 30 layers and half of them are named shape layer 1, shape layer 2, etc., it quickly becomes confusing. So as a best practice, always rename your layers as soon as you create them. Just click on the layer name and press enter or return on Mac to rename. I'll select this layer. I'll click enter to rename. I'll rename anything like part 8. Click on enter. It has been renamed. So next thing we are going to discuss is color labeling. After Effects lets you assign colors to layers to visually group and identify them faster. Right click on a layers colors box and choose a color from the list. For example, you might make all your text layers red, all your shape elements blue, and background layers gray. You'll be surprised how helpful this becomes when your timeline is packed with elements. Now I'll select all these video layers. I'll right click on the box. I'll click yellow. So now our video layers are represented by yellow color. You should also get familiar with the shy layer button. It looks like a small face icon. When you click it on a layer and then enable the master shy toggle at the top of the timeline, that layer disappears from the view. But don't worry, it's still active and rendering it in the final output. This is super helpful for hiding help layers or effects that you don't need to see while animating. Let's see it by performing a practical. I'll select this 4 layer. I'll click this icon. Now let's click the main toggle button. As you can see, the layers are hidden now. If you want to get back those layers, just click this button again. Another tip is locking layers you don't want to accidentally move. Just click on the lock icon next to the layer. This is especially useful for background layers or static elements you're done working with. If you're working with audio, you can even turn on the audio waveform display in the timeline for syncing animation to beats or dialogue, and those layers can also be organized into precomps. So to wrap it all up, as your animation gets more advanced, you'll be dealing with more and more layers, and managing them effectively will make your workflow smoother, faster, and way less frustrating. Take a moment now to go back your projects and practice. Group a few related layers into a precomp, rename them clearly, add color labels, try using shy layers and locking others. These simple steps will save you a lot of time down the line, and they'll make your composition much easier to edit, both for you and for others you to collaborate with. Great job so far. You're now working more like a motion designer.